Whoa, people! What is up, everybody? If you do not know what we are, what we do, why we're here, you have a very severe attention problem.
Or you're new and you don't come to this very often, and this will be your first time coming to a show early. He's an asshole.
Honestly, I would have just agreed to that too. I mean,
yeah, but I figured to fluff him up a little bit.
Yeah. Anyways, what's up, everybody? How you guys doing? The attack
of the chat.
I almost got our name wrong, and I just got done saying, if you guys don't know who we are, you must be fucking stupid. Anyways,
it's putting himself in that category because he doesn't know who we are.
But hey, we're cool. What's up there? Now he's on time. You know, you've been on time every single day for the past fucking 2 years, dude. And I appreciate this so much. But I was so thrown off when you were like kind of a little bit late last week. But here you are again, proving me wrong. Thank you so much. Edward is cool. I love you, dude. So glad you're here. Jojo Cat, what's up, dude? How you doing? How many of you guys actually watch the E3 stuff? Because we're gonna be talking a lot about that stuff, but we also want you guys to give your implementation about your opinions. Opinions. I like that word. Opinions. Yeah, it sounds like a fucking it's like from a planet or something. Like, oh, we are the Aplenians. And like they come.
Yeah, it's really easy to come up with. I always thought extremely easy to come up with alien titles and alien words. Just combine a bunch of letters together and just start words and just start removing random bullshit until you can get something you can say.
Like Viltrum sounds very like, and that's the planet that Omni-Man is from in Invincible. But like, yeah, like. You know, I'm a Viltrumite, and I was like, wait, why does that sound so like that's a real word? Like
it sounds like Vegemite.
Yeah, something like that, you know. And by the way, that would be a very popular villain for you, because you'd be like, oh my god, it's vegans or something, because like it sounds like.
You know, that does seem like a planet full of vegans.
Yeah. Wouldn't it be like no? And by the way, too, like they probably act like vegans on that fucking planet. Everyone's just like, "Hey, you need to be at your best." Whatever the fuck, I don't know. I really hope that we get to see Viltrumite actually, or Viltrum, whatever the fuck it's called. I want to know more about that planet in season 2 Invincible, if they even go there. But it doesn't matter. We'll talk about that some other day. Edward's cool saying I want the Xbox mini fridge. So I thought that was a joke. That's a real fucking thing.
It was a joke, and then Xbox said, "Fuck it, we're gonna make it."
Okay, that's cool. You know what? Like I'm actually completely, I like it.
Wow, that was a really long.
13. No, like because that's the thing, dude. It's like you don't have to really pigeonhole yourself into like software or anything like that too. It's like okay, cool. Like you're gonna make a little hardware thing there. That's cool. You know. I will tell you though, dude. Like, do you have any faith in like hardware like that's not video gaming being of quality when it's from a video game company?
Fucking no. Yeah. Dude, I grew up with Nintendo. Like, let's be fucking real here. If it wasn't a game console, it was a piece of shit. Like. I grew up with all these peripherals being garbage, and it's like, okay, you want to go with stuff that's not peripheral. Most of it was just like, we're gonna slap this logo on a bag or a hat. So now that we're doing actual hardware that's not necessarily a games console, it's like, yeah, I mean, sure, but like.
Well, actually, let's make sure to read the chat really quick. I don't know if you can hear them or see the thing or whatever, but like,
okay.
But really quick, Peter Pan Sexual. So this is gonna be a long explanation, I guess. Sure. But we don't actually watch the stuff like on Twitch because we'll get in trouble. I mean, I think at some point when I get my camera on, I might do a watch party, have like a little time limit thing at the very bottom of the screen. Not time limit, timestamp. The thing is, though, is what we do is we watch it outside of the show and then we come back and review it. So yeah, me and Jet have already watched 2 episodes of that show. We're gonna be reviewing it at the very end of the week. But yeah, Michiko and Hachin, we're definitely watching, as well as we're almost done with this. Clone High, Ryan Walterson gave us bits for Clone High. We're almost done with that. And then yesterday, Gene gave us some bits for P Valley. So we're going to be watching that as well as about strippers, by the way, Alan. So if you want to see some titties, you know, you're free to join.
Cool, it's 2002 and I don't have access to the internet. I got it.
Yeah, no, exactly. No, here's the thing, though, dude. Like, I don't know what's up with, like, strip clubs, but, like, at this point now, it's much porn is on the internet and how much we've all seen at this point. We're almost like FBI fucking people. I feel like, you know, going to a strip club is like, man, y'all not sticking, like, another person up your ass. Like, this is not as fun.
Well, no, you still have it's still always going to be better because it's like, hey, even if you can't necessarily touch the stripper will sit on, you know, your lap and stuff. So that's still always going to be like a much better experience, you know, than actually just kind of watching it. And it's like, yeah, seeing it in front of you and there's no screen, there's no buffering, you know, you don't have any shame or anything like that.
Yeah. Well, I don't have shame no matter what. But here's the thing, though. What I do also have shame for is I haven't got to a lot of these other things. Recently gave us bits for Baby Boy. We're going to be doing that soon. As well as Gene giving us bits for Azumi, Black Hollow Cage. And I think there's like one more thing that we're potentially missing. Oh, Arctis Christmas. That's another one. So, like, yeah.
I'll join you on that Baby Boy thing because that looks so terrible that I might love
it. Yeah. Jessica joined us, too. She was really excited. She's like, oh, Baby Boy, I love this. I watch it on BET all the time. It's like one of my favorite fucking
Actually, I think yeah.
First of all, the thing is, you keep saying that you're the only one who has to watch these movies. So I'm basically saying you are the only one going to be watching Baby Boy.
Okay,
Like,
I mean, I'm just saying,
Yeah.
Jet, like, I want you to be able to enjoy watching these movies as well, and I know that you'll love Baby
you
Boy.
can
It's
enjoy
such a
putting
classic.
like you can enjoy this foot up your ass, 'cause you can watch that.
I mean, we don't know what he's into.
Yeah, that might be my thing. God, there is like so much sex already. Just in the trailer, there's so much sex. God damn it.
Man, Tyree's about to fucking bitch slap somebody. I
Well,
don't
no,
even
I
know
was
who
gonna say
won.
Veen Rames about to beat his ass too.
Oh,
Is it
yeah.
Veen Rames, Jet? Do you know? Or I don't know if you
Yeah,
remember.
I think so.
Yeah.
Is it who?
Is Veen Rames in this?
I don't care.
God damn it. Apparently Snoop Dogg's in this. John Singleton. I love John Singleton. He's fucking great.
Snoop Dogg being in a movie, it's like there's only a 10% chance it's gonna be really good. Most of the time, it's complete trash. The only ones I could think of are honest off the top of my head is Training Day, and he's only in there for like a minute.
Well, he's the whole concept of this movie called Bones. It's a horror movie. This was actually pretty interesting that Snoop Dogg was in. And
Did
they
you
put a
watch
lot
it?
of money. I watched a little bit of it when I was a kid. And by the way, when I was a kid, see, here's the thing too, guys. Like, there's shit that I've watched when I was like really into my horror thing, and just because of the body count, I'm like, yeah, woo, fucking
Shocker! Fucking shocker!
Oh, you put a cape on a grown man, you'll fucking be like, oh my god,
yeah,
do
oh,
it! It's flying
Oh,
in the sky.
oh, man, the only reason I like this is because, I can't believe there's acting in my body cam movie. I can't believe this guy acted. I can't believe he cried. He should just
Well,
get
that's the
killed.
thing, you don't need to have like sometimes it's necessarily like Hereditary. Fucking the acting made it way better. But then you get a movie like an Nightmare on Elm Street, and girls like, it's just a dream, it isn't real. It's just a dream, it was like I don't give a
You're
fuck.
talking about bad acting. You're not talking about acting. You're talking about bad versus good acting.
No, but there's some good acting that's probably bad too. Because I feel like that was good
What?
acting. It's just a dream, it isn't real. I thought that part was good acting. Yeah.
No, it's like the way again, I remember seeing that part. Yeah, that part was terrible because, again, terrible acting.
Oh.
Good acting doesn't ruin anything.
I disagree. I like there's fucking
It's like saying a good fry, like a great fries at a restaurant. Oh, that just ruined this burger. It's like,
no,
what?
that's not it at all because it's a different medium. The thing is, I would say like a situation that kind of made like was like, ooh, you take yourself too seriously. The stuff in like superhero movies, like there's some good acting in fucking like what was it? Spider, like the Sam Raimi Spider-Man movies. There's some good acting in there, especially MJ or whatever.
Sure.
Fuck, but it's like it's so silly because it's like I can't believe y'all. Oh, Man of Steel. I'm gonna be honest, and I hate to say this on the fucking stream. I wish I could say this privately to you, but I'll just say it now. Great acting. Henry Cavill's great. Everyone's all serious.
Yeah.
Y'all wearing capes though. This is stupid as fuck.
But
This
that's
is dumb.
okay. But the thing is, you're putting your own subjective stupidity of not being able to take anything seriously with a cape onto the fact that there's something that's actually going on. That's talking about the father and son relationships and trying to how you present yourself to the world. There's a lot of interesting concepts in that movie. But you're assuming that just because someone's in a cape, it negates the stuff we're talking about. However, they're two of your favorite shows, The Boys and Omni-Man show,
Invincible,
but
yeah.
Invincible has a situation where people are kids doing serious stuff because of the fact that it's well written. I'm not saying Man of Steel is up to those categories, but there's a situation in which if you have something well written, it doesn't matter what the medium is in, you're going to be able to do something interesting with it.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, like, and the same thing goes for Shape of Water. You know, we got this big reptilian fucking whatever the fuck thing, and you know, people are like Michael Shannon. You know, I don't know if this guy was actually saying that Michael Shannon was good. I don't know why you brought him up, but like, I think that Michael Shannon looked ridiculous in that movie and how serious he was and how serious everybody else was, and it's like I can't. You're bringing this surface level like seriousness to something that's so ridiculously crazy. It's like. It does not belong. Like, if they're making jokes or probably being like, damn, I can't believe she's getting with that fucking reptilian dude, I might actually laugh and have a good time at the movie. But the movie is like, no, you need to take this, you know, reptilian human relationship serious as fuck. It's like, this is stupid. I'm ready to hate this movie.
I mean,
No,
didn't
because
they?
again-
I'm pretty sure they joked about it literally in the movie.
But again, I'm going to go to the movie made by literally the same director where it was Hellboy, where it's like, yeah, this guy looks weird as fuck, but everyone, it's like, just because you're serious doesn't mean it's good. Like, that's some problems where you're overly serious, but serious to me, it's like you have to make it worth it, where it's not like you're just serious for no reason, or it's like you don't understand not necessarily don't understand the meaning you're in. I hate that phrasing because it just means that it's like you can never do anything interesting within. It's like, oh, you're in a kids movie, don't bother trying. It's like, no. You should always be trying to be the best. But just because you're serious or down to earth doesn't mean you're doing it well. Like, look at Batman v Superman. I love a lot of that movie, but there's a situation in which they're being overly grumpy, but they're not giving any of the meat necessary for you to understand why Batman is so mad. You just hear his dialogue and go, oh, wow, that makes sense. But it's all surface level where you never delve into the character. Like, why is he so pissed off at Superman during the course of that movie? He has a couple reasons, but they never go into that. He just wants you to roll with it. And that ends up being a problem. When it comes to funny, jokey characters, yeah, you could just fucking whatever, take yourself out of the movie and just start laughing at it. When you're dealing with a serious character, you have to believe their struggle. And if you don't do that properly, it fucks up.
So I'm gonna move on from this just because like I know that we're just gonna agree to disagree. I'm just gonna keep rolling around the fucking cyclical. But since we are talking about comic book movies and comic book stuff in general, I want you to bring up something, or I want to bring up something for you to review. Cause I didn't watch this, and not to say that like I'm gonna like spend this time to say fuck this thing. I'm not gonna watch it. I just wasn't too interested, and I didn't have enough time. And the thing is like I know what's gonna happen. I'm gonna watch this whether I like it or not like it. Someone's gonna tell me that I don't know enough about Marvel, and they're gonna say Nick, shut the fuck up. and I'm not even bringing up like I'm not even saying that just because of what Solid has said. There's people that don't say in the chat that feel that way about me, where it's like, and I totally understand, I'm not offended or anything, guys, but it's like, if there's a moment where I had to go out my way to watch one thing versus another, I'm going to choose the one that I can actually have more intellect about, because when it comes to Marvel, as Alan said earlier and how we just argued, I don't like this shit. So I think the best person to bring to the front of the table here to talk about this is Alan. And Loki, you watched this, and I'm very curious what you thought about this, dude, because we talked about this after watching Falcon and the Winter Soldier, and you seem to be a little like maybe you weren't really hyped about this. I'm going to answer this really quick from you, Mike. It says, Tom McFarlane wants to make a Spawn game. Was Rocksteady, according to what I heard on... Yeah.
Good luck, motherfucker. I want to get the most popular superhero company that's made the most popular superhero franchises in the last decade to make Spawn.
Yeah.
I want Christopher Nolan to publish to fucking direct my stories. Yeah, okay.
Yeah. So I don't know, because your sentence is a little messed up there, Mike. Sorry, man. But it's like he wants to make a Spawn game. I'm sure he wants to make everything that has to do with Spawn. I bet he wants to make a Spawn baby because he loves Spawn that fucking much.
Well,
for some reason,
basically, oh, sorry, go ahead. I'm cutting off.
I forgot what I was saying. But yeah, what were you gonna say?
I was gonna say that basically, you might say like, yeah, Tom McFarlane wants to get Rocksteady, the guys who made the fucking Arkham Asylum series, like the Arkham series, to make Spawn. Which, hey, you know what? Cool. I don't really think that Spawn's power set really works towards how Rocksteady does their games, but they're literally the most popular like superhero company right now because of the fact that they made like this is spanning like 5 to 7 games. Like the only people that's number 2 would be Insomniac after Spider-Man and Miles Morales. So it's like you're asking for the most popular, the very top, to make this character that you can't even get a movie off the ground.
Yeah. But Joe, what are you feeling about this? Because I don't know if you even played the Batman games, but do you feel like Rocksteady, the guys who make the Batman games, could make a pretty good Spawn game, or do you not even give a shit?
I mean, I'll never say never. Like, I'm sure they could. Will they? I mean, I doubt it.
But, like, what do you feel about that type of style of video game anyways? Because, like, for me, I didn't play a lot of them. I played, like, a little bit of Arkham Asylum. I played a tiny bit of City, and I didn't play any of Arkham Knight.
I haven't played any of them.
Really?
In fact, I get them mixed up all the time because I always think they're the same game.
Yeah.
They're just not really my style. Like, I don't really like games that don't have, like, a lot of color palette.
Okay, yeah, and that's the thing. It's very dark the entire time, and there really isn't a whole lot of thing. But, like, for me, it's so moody, and that's what I think they can do with Spawn to make this very moody, too. But either way, man, I mean, we can't really say too much about this until we know for sure if that's actually the case. And, like, the fact that any kind of article, any kind of news outlet was saying, hey, he wants to do this, is like, yeah, that goes without saying. Todd McFarlane wants to do whatever he can to make money, and apparently he can't like, I hate to say this after 4 years of defending this fucking thing with Alan in here, but, like...
What? Can you say that a little louder?
Yeah, fuck you. Todd McFarlane, he failed, all right? Spawn failed. Are you fucking happy, Alan?
Yeah, a little bit. Vindication.
I've been fighting with this dude since, like, super late 2016 about, man, McFarlane's gonna come back, bring Spawn back. By 2018, Spawn's gonna have a movie out and a game out. It's gonna be fucking amazing. Spawn's gonna be the best thing ever. And, yeah, dude, fell right in his fucking face before he even got started.
He's been doing this shit for 30 years. Like ever since the last fucking Spawn thing, he's been trying to get Spawn to happen. And it's like, I'm sorry, but like if you're having trouble getting a superhero movie up in the during and before, during, and after the golden age of comic book movies, bro, it's over, man. Like I don't even know what to tell you. Like if it was like right after Blade, dark moody superhero, perfect. Okay, the superheroes fell off. The MCU gets born. And every fucking company is shitting out superhero movies, and you still can't get yours done. Spawn, you could just turn into a horror franchise. They fucking it took them forever to get what was that the New Mutants off the ground, but eventually that even got into theaters and people forgot about it. It's like nobody wants Spawn, and especially when everyone was clamoring for the next big superhero, you couldn't get yours off the ground. Like that's just at this point pathetic.
Yeah, dude. But YouTube, I'm going to call you out just with my voice, even though I wrote it in there. I see you guys over there from the Double Toasted Bites area. Make sure to get into this chat and talk to us about some Spawn and some video game stuff, as well as Loki. I want to get, see what you guys feel about it. But speaking of that, we'll get back on topic here, man. What you feel about this right away?
So the first thing, the first Disney show I watched, like everyone was WandaVision. I hated that first 2 episodes. I was like, look, I don't get your bit. It's going on too long. But eventually started picking up, and it became one of my favorite superhero shows I've ever seen because it managed to do so much where it's delving into the characters, it's building the characters, it's doing a lot of interesting stuff. So I was excited for Winter Soldier. But then I felt like Winter Soldier was just like, this is just typical punch bad guy superhero thing. And you didn't go into the characters. You barely dwelled on them. Everything felt surface level, and you didn't spend enough time to really garner any development for these characters. It just felt like we have to get to this position so that we can move them back to the movies. But you didn't. I never felt it was earned. So when Loki comes around, I'm like, look, man, these MCU shows are one-hit wonder. No one's gonna have the balls to do anything to do with WandaVision. And with Loki, I'm like, we've already seen Loki's start. We've already seen his character development, and we've seen the character die. So this idea that we're going to do this completely different path with essentially this character at one point, and we're going to have to do a different trajectory, I'm like, it's just going to be some bullshit where he's going to be the Tony Stark of this show and just be like, oh, I'm going to be a shit talker.
Yeah.
But I was fucking wrong. Straight up. Like, the majority of this episode is, hey, Loki is sitting across from Owen Wilson and goes, why are you killing people? Oh, well, I'm the best. Like, no. You like doing this. He goes, well, no, I'm doing this. It's like they're constantly going back and forth where he's saying, hey, shut the fuck up. You're an idiot. Explain to me why you enjoy this. Do you like to kill people? It's like it's played like I don't want to say fully serious, like you're watching fucking Mindhunters, but it's played with that almost like there's a perfect blend of comedy and seriousness where it's like you could tell Loki's using humor to cover up himself. But Owen Wilson is playing it like, hey, I want to figure out. I don't think you're necessarily a terrible person. Like you're not like like you're not overtly evil. But I think that there's something that you're compensating for. Yeah. And over the course of the episode, when he's showing him his life, it ends up going extremely interesting. And a lot of what's going on with TVA is they explain it like right away. It's like, hey, we are in charge of timeline stuff. Before all this bullshit happened, there was tons of multiverses. We consolidated them into one. And anytime there's a variant, basically some shit that's not supposed to happen. And they go into detail with that shit where it's like, let's say you just went to work and instead of going right, you went left. And that was off the path that we said you're supposed to be on. We'll take you, arrest you, and fuck up your entire timeline. So this TVA basically goes to fixing up because people are like, well, what about all the problems and timelines in Endgame? It's like, well, this agency is going to fix it up and make sure that there's one unified timeline. And you can see in the background, like, oh, that's going to connect to all these movies. So I'm like, this show is doing a lot of groundwork to fill in the holes that the movies can't do. And that's where Loki comes in, and he's a variant. So they completely obliterate his timeline. So you know, in a situation where, oh, is he going to fuck up this? Like, no. That timeline doesn't exist. This character now has to pay for crimes of essentially leaving the timeline. But during that, Owen, I can't want to say Obi-Wan for some fucking reason.
Yeah, I mean, hilarious. Owen Wilson is Obi-Wan from Star Wars.
I don't know why I want to keep saying that.
I'm really quick. Oh, no, actually, go on. I'm sorry.
Oh no, go ahead if you have a question.
Well, because I know I'll end up forgetting whatever too, but and we'll kind of like combine this with whatever we're talking about right now. But like E-Mike says, Marvel with the MCU is okay. Marvel Comics itself is doing pretty bad because HCW's want ground girl action. I don't think that's the case. Thank you for the bits though, but I don't think that's really the case here because if you look at what they're doing, maybe these girl characters gain more like fleshed out, I guess, like the female character superheroes or whatnot. And I do think that like. To this extent, Loki, regardless of whether this is amazing or not, to what Alan's going to say, I do think that, like, personally, WandaVision paved the way for any of these things to come out and start doing it. I know, like, they already planned ahead of time that they're going to make these shows, but I think WandaVision right away set a lot of people that are not already going to watch this, they're going to be like, oh, like, they're going to be experimenting with some of these shows. So because of Wanda, not because of Vision or anybody else, because of Wanda, like, they're going to do some actually interesting shit here. And I honestly, like, not to say that I'm going to watch this because of WandaVision, because there's things I didn't like about WandaVision, but I do think that there's this little bit of success with this show that has to be kind of credited to what WandaVision did. But continue on though, Alan. Like, it's like, was there a certain point in this where you're like, okay, I'm excited, this is cool, I like what they're doing here, but then there's a piece of this that's like, yeah, maybe you're doing the same thing that the Avengers movies did over and over and over again?
No, because it's one of those things where immediately I was kind of like arms crossed because like I like Loki, I like this character, and I saw his end. I'm like, that's a cool end. But seeing the show, I'm like, we're gonna go through a completely different character development with the same character to end up at a different spot. And I'm like, I don't want to sit here and watch 4 seasons of the show to be like, it turned like the ended like Megamind. Maybe I don't want to be the bad guy after all. I'm like, that's just gonna be complete BS. It's like the whole thing. Is he gonna be good this time? Is he gonna escape? It's like no. They kind of get rid of that in between explaining the TVA, basically the time variant association. Their job is to deal with the variants, people that go off the timeline. but they're doing so much explaining of this world and what's going on with the TVA. But they're also basically sitting Loki down and be like, hey, watch the Avengers movies. You eventually become a better person. And as he's doing that, he's trying to fight his own ideas of like what kind of person he is while we're just sitting down and having a conversation. There's very little action. There's a lot of comedy, but it never feels overt. It's nothing like Guardians 2, where it's like, oh, every time you have a serious moment, someone farts or does some dumb shit. It's like there's comedy in there, but it makes sense for why the characters are doing certain things. Now, it's not a perfect thing, and that'd be kind of a bit of a spoiler to go into some things I didn't like. But overall, the premise of the show, it's like there's going to be some cool stuff they're going to do with time travel. They're clearly going a little bit darker because there's actually, like, you see bodies and blood. Like, it's not going to be hard R, but they're clearly pushing the envelope. But it seems like they want to work on developing this character and putting down a completely different trajectory than what happened after, Thor and, Thor 2. Like, Thor 2 sets him on a trajectory where he eventually becomes, this unwitting, almost anti-hero. It seems like this time they might actually try to be like, hey, you're not a terrible person. You're just super fucking misguided. So we're going to find a way to redeem your actions. And to me, like, that's much more interesting, where it's like again, for anyone that watched The Last Airbender, it's like Zuko in season 3. He's a terrible person for 2 seasons, but he eventually realizes what he's doing is wrong and goes down and becomes one of the best characters in the show. So seeing that with this, I'm like, this got me more hyped because it did everything that I wish Winter Soldier did. It sat the character down and be like, explain yourself. It's almost like rewriting, like, explain yourself. I want you to sit down, and they didn't wishy-washy it. They spent 15-20 minutes just talking, and I fucking loved it.
Yeah, man. And even, like, I'm gonna be honest, it almost like desells me a little bit, because I'm like, okay, well, I want to see these motherfuckers talking, especially with everything that, as a variant, like what they're able to do with that particular aspect of the storyline. But at the same time, like, there's times where WandaVision and Falcon and Winter Soldier got very quiet. Like, for instance, and I forgot the character's name now, but like the one that used to be a super soldier, the black dude. Yeah.
Oh my God. Jebediah? No.
I don't know. But like the thing is though, is like they go into a whole thing because like he's old now, whatever. But he's sitting down, he's talking about like what a Hydra did to him and blah blah blah. And like this is a show where we have like a guy that has Falcon wings and he's shooting missiles and shooting people and dodging bullets and blah blah blah. And yet the most interesting part was a conversation. And it's like I love shit like that. Like I didn't think I would. It's kind of problematic sometimes because you're insulting my fucking time and my intelligence. But like at the same time, like if you're gonna have a legitimate conversation, bring up shit that like you can only appreciate if you're willing to enjoy the story, then that's really cool.
Well, because at the end of the day, one of the things that I loved about it, particularly that scene or even that entire character, is that you're using the guise of superhero and in some cases science fiction to explain a problem that currently exists. Because he's talking about that, and he's talking about like, hey, Hydra fucked me up, but you could just place Hydra with the current United States, and you get the same kind of story. But the benefit of the benefit of fantasy is you get to basically not necessarily trick people, but you get to have people absorb this information without necessarily being like a show. Like if you stripped away all that stuff and it's a story about like Anthony Mackie wants to be a cop or something, and it's like, why the fuck are you going to be a cop in America? All this shit. Like you could tell almost an identical story. But the thing is people are going to be like, well, this is real, this is an actor, yada yada. But you putting it into a superhero guise means that's like, oh, all this fantastical stuff, but we still have the same problems. It means these problems are constant. These problems are pure to humanity, and they can be applied anywhere. Same thing with what's going on in Loki. He's basically asking him, you're doing all of these bad things, but there's a reason why you're doing it. And it's not a situation where I'm just evil because I'm bored or I have to be evil. It's like, there's a reason why you're doing it. And they go through and it's like the character starts to break down and they show him his life. Like they show him like everything right up to Endgame. And you start to see how that affects the character. And now this character who basically doesn't know anything after 2012, he doesn't know the future. He thinks that the time travel that happened in Endgame was to stop him from being king. He doesn't know about, like, he obviously knows about Thanos because he knew about the beforehand. He doesn't know about what happens in Infinity War at all. Then he eventually figures it out and goes, oh shit, I'm like, he starts to reflect upon himself. And I'm like, wow, you're actually doing something interesting and different that I thought you wouldn't do to the end of season 1.
Yeah, and Kirk says, Dick Jason movie, Jason sits down and talks to the campers. That would be kind of interesting. He just, he's talking through his hockey mask and everything. He's just trying to have a fucking conversation.
No, just Ash sits him down. Ash of the Evil Dead goes, why the fuck are you killing people?
Yeah. They're trying to find gas for that fucking chainsaw. No one ever brings that up. I didn't watch Ash vs. Evil Dead. Maybe they brought it up there, but it's like, yo, like, that chainsaw is constantly, where's the gas at, dude? Like,
look, let's be real here. Where the fuck is the gas and the chains for the chainsaws in Gears of War?
Oh, yeah, that's never brought up. And he
Chainsaw
is using
Bayonet is a
fuck
terrible idea.
It really is. But yeah, man. In the chat though, Kit Kat Sneak Attack. I love that name. Thank you very much for being over here. I really appreciate that. Hopefully you're here not just for Double Toast stuff, but just to come onto a stream and just shoot the shit and everything too. But yeah, man. So many people in the chat have so many things to say about like the video game stuff. Chris, Porter Chris saying I haven't been impressed with the new game trailers that came out. Also the news of another
Shocker.
Final Fantasy VII spinoff called First Soldier. So stupid. Yeah, I agree with that, dude. So like we're not on top of the video game stuff yet, but I do want to get that out of the way here. So like.
Yeah.
Is there any particular release date here with the second half of Final Fantasy VII? Because this is getting fucking stupid now, dude. The fact that this game's been out for so long, and yet like we're not even talking about a second half yet.
Oh, bro, dude, part 2, dude. It took 4 years for part 1 to come out, and that essentially with the amount of time per hour, like that's a 30-40 hour game. That's a full game. Like that's not like we cut it up so it's like in 8 hours. Like no, that's a full game. Like 30 hours is a lot for anything, including a game that's basically linear. Having that much time dedicated to that much story, that much dialogue, like with that much action, like it's not a short game by any stretch of the imagination. So to me, I think it's less of like, where's part 2, of more of like, don't worry about it. Just here's the spin-offs. Here's Final Fantasy 16. Here's the other, the First Soldiers. That's a mobile. We need Fortnite money. But as far as the other, but as far as the spin-off he's talking about, there is a spin-off that Square Enix dropped. It's called Strangers in Paradise or something, and it's made by the guy. It's made by not Ninja Theory, Team Ninja.
Okay, yeah.
And it looks really, really good. It looks like more like Devil May Cry in the Final Fantasy universe, and it looks fantastic.
Well, and the character looks interesting because Cloud is always so stoic, and yet everyone wants to fuck him. And like this new character that they have, I was like, okay, he looks like a badass almost. Like he's just like, yeah, I'm gonna come in here and I'll fuck shit up, bam, dude, do all this shit. And it's like that's a character I want to follow. I don't want to follow this dude who's just popular just because he's the main character. I hate that shit.
Yeah, and looking at the gameplay and look at that stuff, and it's coming out, next year. It'll probably be like December next year. But I think at the end of the day is that Square Enix knows, like, look, we can't rush out the Final Fantasy parts because those are extremely anticipated. What we can do is make sure that you always have something Final Fantasy related to tide you over till the big releases, because they want to make them like big events. They're not going to sit here and just release freaking Final Fantasy 7 parts yearly because the hype will die down. They want to keep the hype train up, but they want to make sure that they have time to develop it. Because part 2, it might be on a different engine. It might not be on PS4. They say, don't worry, it'll be on PS4. I don't believe that for a second.
Yeah. Really quick, Chris says they're spending time making. Oh yeah, no, I read that earlier, and he says I'd rather have a new Ninja Gaiden game. Dude, absolutely, I would.
Fuck you.
No, Ninja Gaiden's a shit, bro. That is fucking awesome.
Every game is terrible. Literally every one from the NES to the fucking last one on 360.
Aaron says at work, just want to say that Square Enix had the worst conference that he's ever seen. Honestly, dude, I don't agree with that. I really liked Square Enix's thing. I mean, granted. Man, I don't know if you're gonna be at work like tomorrow or anything, Rojo, but like when we start talking about like the entire E3 thing, like with a nice like full show about it, man, hopefully you can come in and like really explain yourself, because I don't want to like say you're wrong, but like for me, I had no no expectations, and like it was fun as shit.
I loved it. Honestly, it was one of my favorite ones because it started off with like immediately like, they're dropping a bomb, which the Guardians of the Galaxy game was like. I saw Guardians of the Galaxy. They're gonna add them to Marvel's Adventure. Nah, we're making our own fucking game. And I looked at the combat, I'm like, the combat's okay, but I'm more surprised you only play a Star-Lord. But I was also looking at it, and there's a lot of choice-driven. I'm like, they basically took the Telltale Guardians of the Galaxy game and said, screw it, we're making this a third-person shooter.
Yeah, that's what I related. I mean, I don't like the jokes. I think they talk way too fucking much. There's not a fucking frame of game here that they're not talking or bickering or making jokes. And I'm telling you, like, not saying that the shit's not funny, because there's times it's funny, it's whatever. But, like, when you telling so many jokes... Like, no matter what, you can't hit a certain ratio. There is going to be at least 60% of jokes that fail because I'm sick of laughing. I'm sick of you talk. Like, just shut the fuck up and let me play. I can't. That gets my nerves.
It didn't mind me, but I could definitely imagine that minding to other people. But at the end of the day, I'm like, it's weird because I'm like, you're releasing the game the same year you announce it. We also spent the first 10 minutes showing off. I'm like, yeah, you got enough that you don't have to wait a year. Like, this is coming out in like 3-4 months actually.
Yeah, and to Chris's point, this is another thing, man. Chris, you've been saying some good shit today, sir. I'm gonna fucking reference you a lot, dude. I have this is on my Google Docs, so I'm just gonna show my screen or whatever the fuck. But like, Tribeca Games and everything they did on that original like Amazon Prime Gaming Day, it was like 2 days before E3 even started. I still think that's the best day, man. I mean, they got the Elden Ring stuff over here. That was like basically the new Souls, whatever the fuck thing. But like Back 4 Blood, they showed a lot of stuff from Back 4 Blood. What was another thing? I'm gonna scroll down here. It was something really big. Damn it, I can't remember.
Solar Ash. I can't wait for that to come out.
Yeah, 2 Point Campus. That's gonna be fucking awesome. I cannot wait for 2 Point Campus, because 2 Point Hospital is actually a pretty fun, interesting game. I've already talked about Call of Duty. You guys already know how much I love that shit. Jurassic World Evolution 2, dude.
Yeah, they're making a sequel to that. I'm surprised. I have the first one. I just never played it. But hey, it made enough money that they're making a second one, so go for it.
Yeah, dude. So there's so much things like that, but like none of the things I want to talk about are actually here. I mean, like these are the big ones like Wonderlands and things like that. But like there was a couple like 12 minutes. I'm so hyped for 12 minutes. It's gonna be in a fucking.
I want to know if the game's ever gonna come out because I've been waiting for that game for 3 years.
Yeah, man. And then what you call it? Bridge. I always say Bridge of Spies, but like Bridge of Spirits or something. Okay, Alan. So I got the second part right. What was the first part of that name?
Damn it! I was hoping you were gonna say it because I was
Yes.
gonna fucking. God fucking damn it. Kenya, Bridge of Spies.
No, not
Fuck
Kenya.
it.
Kenya.
Kenya, Bridge of Spies. Fuck
No, you're saying Kenya.
I know, I'm doing it on purpose now. I'm leading into it. Fuck it.
Dude, no, this game looks fucking great, dude. Like, I love this so much.
Somebody at Sony was like, look, man, we need our own Breath of the Wild. And they're like, okay, fine, we'll give you this game.
Yeah, dude, like, oh my god. So this is not showing too much gameplay here, guys, but trust me, man, the gameplay looks fucking incredible.
Yeah.
The cutscenes are cool too and everything, but like, for me, it doesn't matter until you see a HUD or at least you see the game like in motion, whatever. And like, yeah, dude, once they showed that, it was like, I'm surprised you guys haven't been like showing this at the forefront instead of the cutscenes, because this shit is incredible. And I think that Kenna could be one of the big things that come out of Tribeca Games. Is going to be huge, especially Sable. Sable is another game. I want to share this really quick. Sable gameplay. They even had like a orchestra music thing that was going on like the day before they showed the gameplay of this.
Yeah.
But I'm telling you, like, as far as, and I can't really show this on stream, but like, you know, as far as like sound design and everything, guys, incredible. But this is the most unique look for a game I've seen in a while, to the point where it looks like a painting that's in motion. Look at the shadows on that shit, dude. Like,
It looks okay. The only reason it doesn't bother me is just it seems like a walking simulator, and I'm like, those are cool and all, but those never really grab me. It's like, yeah, the story has to be incredible because that's really all there is to it. That's why it's like, we're looking back to Kenya Bridge of Spies. It's like the company that worked on animated features, and you can tell because it starts off with like the energy of the mountain. I'm like, this feels like I'm watching a Pixar movie, like. Especially with the way that they're directing the cutscenes, it feels like they're not like, oh, these are video game cutscenes. No, these are animated feature cutscenes. So when the gameplay mirrors that, it's like, wow, you're doing what I want. You're making an incredible story with incredible gameplay. But then I look at Sable, I'm like, yeah, the amount of work they're doing, they're hand drawing most of this, like, and computerizing it, it looks incredible. But if I'm not doing anything but like, I'm not saying, it has to be, pull out a gun and start shooting motherfuckers left and right. Like, let me do some sort of puzzle. Let me do something that's not just walk up cutscenes and crouch and crawl. Like, to me, I feel like a game should have more than that.
yeah. But yeah, like, I'm going to show a little bit of gameplay from Kenna really quick on Bridge of Spirits. Yeah, like, this shit looks fucking beautiful. Love the way they do this stuff. But yeah, I'm also in a situation, too, where it's like, yeah, it looks simple. It looks like one of those games that could be fun for a little bit, and then maybe you kind of get, right back out of, like, the, oh my god, like, it's this new beautiful game. But I just think that, like, coming out of Tribeca Games where, everyone's looking at that, like, oh, it's part of the indie stuff. Nothing in here is going to be that amazing. It's really, like, warm to know that, like, wow, they can come out and literally almost steal the show. Because I got to tell you, dude, this looks almost comparable to Horizon Forbidden West.
Oh, as far as like they're clearly going for that, I think visually, like, no, because this one's going for literally like a more of an animated feature, like something like what was that, Raya and the Last Dragon?
Yeah, Raya and the Last Dragon.
I feel like it's going more for, we're trying to make a Pixar movie as a game, whereas Horizon's new Forbidden West is like, no, we're going photorealistic with this shit. Like, it's going for different stuff, but you could tell it's like, especially with the fact that you have a bow and arrow and a staff, like, we're going for the same kind of combat open world kind of stuff. But you could tell one's more cartoony, Wind Waker, Legend of Zelda inspired, and one is more real world inspired. So that's, at the end of the day, that's what's going to separate people. Because when people are like, oh, these games are the same, you're just a dude running around with a bow. It's like, no, there's extremely different. One's a sequel, first of all, one's a new IP. That is going to separate. They just have to make sure they don't release them. And honestly, I say this, don't release them in the same year. Like, I don't know if it's coming out this year or next year, but wait a year. You got to let people breathe, because the games are very similar. There's distinctions, but I'm deep in the video game industry. I know the distinctions. The average person might not.
Yeah. But there's definitely distinction with this next thing we're going to show over here. So, once again, like, I don't mind doing this, because there's a lot of times I'm fucking right, and I love my own opinion. I don't know if you guys know that. But I fucking
wow, shocker.
Yeah, like, because I'm right a lot. Like, I'm actually, like,
no,
I'm right all the time. I'm literally right all the time. But
you're
the thing
literally,
is,
that is a wrong statement.
But on top of just being right all the time, there's some times where I can be like, I'm also such a great person, like, in my heart, that I can admit when I'm a little bit wrong, and it's only a little bit wrong because I'm fair. I'm right in the middle of everything too. Did I say I have like a big dick too? Everything about me is great.
Can we get to the trailer?
But the thing is, though, is that I was arguing with Alan about like Call of Duty versus Battlefield because he's always been like, "Hey, Battlefield's a better franchise, and I like this game, I like that game, and those games are really terrible." And Alan has pretty bad taste in video games. But when it comes to this, though, I was like, "Okay, we'll see what's gonna happen." The little trailer that they had, that launch trailer, didn't show any gameplay, and it was really frustrating. And then I'm watching like the fucking E3 press conference thing, and like they didn't show any Battlefield stuff as far as what I was watching. And then all of a sudden, like, fucking IGN just randomly uploads the trailer. I was like, oh shit, is this real? I click on it, and everything they've been making fun of Alan for, man, I'm sorry. This is
Good,
amazing.
you should be. This is Battlefield to me. Everything that they're doing in there, and honestly, I'm gonna go into extreme as much depth as humanly possible with this, because to me, Battlefield is one of my favorite multiplayer franchises, like right next to Smash Bros. As far as the games I want to play multiplayer. I'm literally still playing Battlefield 1 to this day. I got off playing a couple rounds a little while ago, but when I was looking at this, I'm like, this is kind of what I want. We're increasing the amount of tanks and vehicles on the battlefield. Because usually it was like maybe 2 or 3 per team, but clearly we're increasing that. We're going back to post-modern warfare, so we're sticking with the still kind of modern weaponry, but we're going a little bit more futuristic with some of the planes and stuff. This feels very reminiscent to the Hong Kong level in Battlefield 4, especially with the way they're going up the ladder. But especially the way they're walking into the building, that feels very similar to that big giant level. I just hope DICE learned their lesson by scaling back the size or maybe increasing the player count, because that was a huge problem. But one of the things I looked at when they get into the elevator, and it showed a couple times in the trailer, is you can customize your weapon on the ground. That is game changing. That is like something you play in a fucking regular, like, I can't even think of a first-person shooter that lets you do that short of an RPG. But the fact that you're able to stop and you're able to change what you need per the battle. What if you need night vision? You're like, oh shit, I forgot to put night vision on. Oh no, switch that. What if you're like, shit, I need a smaller clip because I'm more close. I don't want to reduce. I want to increase accuracy. Like, there's so many things you can choose in there, especially with assault rifles and stuff like that. So immediately look at that's a game changer. That's the biggest game changer in the entire Battlefield franchise, is changing weapons on the ground, because you don't have to sit there and be like, well, I died, I better hope I get to the same spot. It's like the second one was the fucking grappling hook. You can grapple hook to different environmental stuff. The biggest problem with Battlefield is trying to traverse large vertical structures without having to press jump or hope you can find a ladder. The fact that you're able to almost Titanfall this up means you're going to be able to traverse more. The problem with that is your snipers are going to have to raid in the battlefield once again for the 5th game in a row, where they'll just find some random fucking light pole in the middle of who gives a shit and have a scan of the battlefield. That's the only problem I could think of. But having that situation where you're able to increase your traversal is going to change up how the game works.
Yeah. Now, one thing, I mean, and I'm not like fully correcting here, but I think that you're playing a lot of games that were kind of like, old franchises that are just continuing moving forward. But like, you can do that in Apex Legends, you can do that in Rogue Company, you can do that in one of the newer Call of Duties, because like I feel like there's like a certain skill tree that you can have that can change while you're playing. But at the same time, it's like, it is nice that Battlefield has made that step forward, so now they're on the same pace as all the other new games. It is cool as shit. But like,
well, when I say game changing, I mean, at the end of the day, it's like, one, it's game changing for the franchise itself, because usually when it comes to changing a loadout, Call of Duty or most other games, I haven't played necessarily every battle royale, but even battle royale stuff, you have to find the weapons. This allowing you to again, but if anyone's ever played Crisis 2, Crisis 1 and Crisis 2, that is the mechanic they took. It makes sense. It's EA, they own the franchise, so they're like, no, we're gonna add this on there. The thing about Battlefield, what makes Battlefield extremely interesting versus to me any other first-person multiplayer I've ever played, is the amount of variety that can happen with how the guns work, mixed in with how the level design is, mixed in with the objectives. All those in conjunction make the game have a lot of variety. It's not just run to objective A and just shoot everyone. It's like, no, there's a lot of way to approach a multiplayer situation. But the fact that you're able to customize your gun and not have to go into the loadout, because sometimes I'll spend 15 minutes customizing my loadout at the start of a battlefield because I want everything to go well. The fact that I'm gonna have even more customization means it changes shit on the ground. You could be mid firefight with a sniper, and he'll just change his sniper to something that's close quarters, and now it's a completely different fight.
Yeah, so here's the thing, though. I think that the biggest thing to really talk about here, because I mean, I know you want to go in depth and everything too, and maybe I'm just a person who doesn't give too much shit about Battlefield in the sense of like, oh, like that's cool that they're doing things that other companies might be doing or franchises might be doing, but I mean, it's still cool that they're doing it. The thing is, though, for me, that I'm like happy about and was really impressed with, but then I'm also like kind of scared, is the storm thing, because I gotta tell you, dude, the storm thing is fucking cool. It's winning me over so fucking much. That shit looks so goddamn beautiful and scary and badass. But I feel like there's a lot of things that promise that shit, and they use the word storm, and the first thing that comes to mind is this shit, Motor Storm. that's one thing that comes to mind. And also too, didn't Mad Max Fury Road the game have like a storm system in it?
Yeah, it was fantastic. Basically, it's that's probably a much more closer example because the thing about the Battlefield franchise is in Battlefield 4 they added where they changed the level. It was called the worst name ever. It's called Levolution. Basically, I hated the name so goddamn much because it doesn't roll off the tongue. It feels like I'm drooling when I'm saying that word. I don't know why it bugs me so goddamn much. But what happened is, and it was a set event about halfway through the match, in which some event would happen and it would change the game for the rest of it. In some cases, it would rain a lot. If you're in a desert area, it would be super stormy. And honestly, it was mostly just like, we're just going to reduce visibility. That's literally all it was. We reduced visibility to just make the game less fun. And I'm like, look, I fucking hate this shit so goddamn much. To the extent where I think they scaled it back in Battlefield 1, but I legitimately hated it. With this is different. This isn't, oh, we're going to make it less visible. No. We're putting a stage hazard into the fucking match. That changes up how people are going to play. That changes how people are going to go to the objective. If DICE is smart, they're going to randomize it. They're going to make it, sometimes it goes to objective A, sometimes it's G. Maybe there's a set trajectory where it goes from A to G that completely fucks up. Because in Battlefield 1, they added behemoths. Basically, behemoths are large vehicles where if your team is losing, you get a motorized blimp, you get something big to help balance the game out. With this, I don't know if this is going to be helpful to any team. I think this is to balance everything. Because we realize we can't balance either team. We could just level the entire playing field.
Yeah. But that'll be interesting to see how that's even going to come across, whatever. I just feel like, like the storm thing could be something that's going to be badass, but it can also be something that's kind of lame. But it's a gimmick nonetheless that separates it from like Call of Duty and all the other things. So it's like, that is pretty cool. I do wish that they were going to do the Battle Royale thing. I don't think they're going to be doing that. And I even heard a rumor that they might potentially not do the campaign, which is also very questionable. Like, that's a rumor. I don't know how true that is.
I heard about that as well, and I heard about the Battle Royale, and at the end of the day, I think the Battle Royale could come back, but they tried it in 5 and it was terrible. But then again, the mechanics in 5 were terrible. The shooting was terrible. The maneuvering was terrible. Every class was awful. And Battle Royale doesn't really fit in there, but doesn't mean they can't pull it off. As far as the campaign, I'm gonna say this straight up. Good. I know people are like, I can't believe that my game doesn't have every single mode on the face of the planet. It's like, yeah. How many fucking times do you sit there and be like, wow, this game falls apart because clearly they didn't spend enough time? It's like, video games are difficult to make. Video games take years to develop. So splitting your team, and yes, you will have to, I don't care how big your fucking team is, you will have to split your team because a single player game plays very differently to a multiplayer game. There's overlap, but that doesn't really work that well. Them sacrificing the single player game, because guess what? Battlefield is a multiplayer franchise. They are focusing all their efforts to make it work, to make Battlefield fucking what it is the multiplayer. So them not having a single player, I'm not gonna say, oh, I don't care. No, I'm happy they don't have it because I wanted to make it work. Now, I would like a Battle Royale. If it's as good as Warzone, I'll have a lot of fun. It means I don't have to keep playing Call of Duty to get a Battle Royale fix. I could fucking play Battlefield and enjoy it. But at the end of the day, no matter what game you're making, make the best version of it. If the next game, and not necessarily this series, but another series wants to do only single player, like for instance, Kenya, Bridge of Spies. I don't want that to have a co-op and multiplayer. That's a single player story. I don't need to have a multiplayer portion to quote unquote give it life. It's a single player game. This is a multiplayer game, Battlefield. It needs to be good for what you're getting for. It's like walk to a restaurant and you're ordering a burger. If the fries are good, that's great, but you ordered a fucking burger.
Yeah. And I agree with that particular metaphor or whatever, but I do feel like when it comes to making video games, I fundamentally disagree. I'm not going to go into it or anything, but like I do fundamentally disagree with like taking things out and still the game being the price that the game is. I mean, like if I'm going to get a game that's going to be full price, it needs to be a full game. And like if they take pieces away, whereas the rest of the franchise has all those things in place with less development time, with less money, with less graphical competence, then why can't the new ones do it? But like then again, I mean, we just disagree. But one thing I want to bring up, go ahead.
No, go ahead.
Because like the next thing I want to bring up is just as far as like graphical, awesomeness. Forza Horizon 5.
Oh god. Now I'm gonna go replace me with a giant car for 20 fucking minutes while you go into this.
No, well, there's not much I have to say to it other than just like I think it looks beautiful. I think that they didn't show enough. Like for me personally, I think at this point they should have shown some kind of like, okay, here's how the damage effects are going to be. Here's our simulation. How's the story? How's the progression of what we're going to be doing? One of my favorite things about racing games that people don't bring up a lot is that they're basically like this very fast-paced RPG. because there's so much simulation things, so many things you got to do to add to your car. Then some upgrades you make to your car are actually working against you when you have certain races against other vehicles. There's so many cool things about it that no one really talks about because we're too busy looking at fucking trailers like this. That's like, hey, look at the graphics, it's pretty. And it's like,
look
yeah,
at the rocks. Look at the rocks.
Yeah.
We made this geological rock thing. Look how good that rock is. You see that cactus? We got the needles on there. Who fucking cares? Legitimately, like I'm like normally I don't like to install fan bases. I don't give a fuck. Who actually gives a shit about half this shit? I'm looking at this going, this is the most boring thing I sat through, and they would not stop. They went like 10 minutes. I'm like, this is some of the most boring shit I've ever seen. I don't care. Look, you're a racing game. Just like a fighting game. No one's going to sit there and be like, yeah, MK12? Yeah. The carpet there, man? Real fibers and shit. We model the fibers. Nobody gives a fuck. You're there to watch the characters fight. But, like, of course it's going to look good. Fighting games look fucking amazing because all you're rendering is character animations. You don't have to worry about the characters moving in 3D space. They're just fighting, so you can focus on the animations. When it comes to a fucking racing game, you don't have to sit there and worry about a character moving within the environment and rushing up to them. You're just driving through. You're going super fast. So the rocks being so realistic, and yeah, they look realistic. Who cares? You're going to see it for 2 seconds, and it could be fucking 8-bit textures. You wouldn't fucking notice it going 300 miles an hour. It's like, who cares about this shit?
I think it's a demo reel a little bit for just like the team working on it. Like, okay, like we can do this graphically, so hey, like anybody out there who wants to hire us to work on your fucking video game, we can also bring rocks to your Call of Duty or Battlefield game.
My problem is they do the same trailer every fucking time. Unprecedented level of detail. That's every single every single one.
Your Battlefield and your Splinter Cell and everything.
No, they do. Yeah, but the thing is, at least those are games. This is just the same shit every single time with Forza. Every time they do the same fucking wording, the same fucking bullshit, unprecedented detail. Nobody cares. And honestly, they probably won't. I don't know if there's gonna be damage physics in this fucking game because they want to make sure the cars are pristine and realistic and look pretty because that's all they care about. Like, this is a franchise that to me fundamentally that's all it is. Be very, very pretty. That's all its selling point is. And it's
that's fundamentally the reason why I argue so much with video games, to the point where I feel like it's just kind of like, I don't know, like you're blind to certain things only because you like them. Like, for me personally, everything they said here is the same thing to say in Call of Duty and GTA and The Witcher and fucking Cyberpunk. Like, immerse, you get to choose where you want to go. You can choose where the story goes. What, you mean I can choose path A to path B and then they both lead to the same path any fucking ways? Like, really good job there, Cyberpunk, and fucking
it lets you play, and then there's a lot of stuff going on with the racing game. Even if I can get past those genre itself, it's like the selling point of it's my issue is like, what are you selling this game on? And it's like you spend so much of the time talking about the visuals, but you do it every single Forza game. That's why to me, that's why I say just replace me with a giant car, because they would have if they could, but again, pandemic, they probably couldn't get a giant car to fucking be in the middle there. It's just sold on the same thing every single time. This time we have a campaign. I'm like, okay, cool. So you can keep people going on, but it's like, bro, like the racing genre itself has its issues with stagnation. But this particular franchise, to me, every single fucking time, it's the same thing. It's almost not saying the same visuals they're showcasing, but it's the same kind of selling points every time. They're focused more selling you on the visuals than the game itself, except for some of the campaign. By the way, the campaign footage looked terrible. Them driving through the fucking marshes looked awful. I thought I was looking at an indie simulator for a second.
I am shocked. I can't I don't because if I argue with you, it's like it's just gonna be insulting. So I'm just like, you don't like racing games.
I've never liked racing games, but even then, it's like, how do you sell Battlefield? Well, okay, you sell it based on a lot of the stuff that you're going to be doing.
It right now, like because I'm telling you right now, I would try to sell my ass off to Jet. Hey Jet, so Battlefield, I'm gonna have you play this. Okay, it's really cool. So you get a gun, you go pum pum pum, and then you die, and then you get up again, and go pum pum pum, and you do that for hours, forever. You want to play it?
No.
See what I'm saying?
Like, but again, you sold it in the worst way. But you also sold it exactly how you'd sell a racing game. It's just like racing games to me. There's more you can do in a shooter than you can do in a racer, which means there's more selling points in a shooter than a racer.
There really is not, by the way.
Yeah, there are a lot more.
Like for instance, every first-person shooter before Call of Duty Modern Warfare came out was literally just you followed this fucking literally the most linear, you have no options ass path. And then whether or not you die or kill, whatever, you get responded so fast that literally it's just even dying doesn't matter. You might as well just watch someone play it on fucking on a TV screen or whatever, and you just have the second controller not even hooked up, and you get the exact same experience. Meanwhile, since PS1, Gran Turismo has had, oh, you can get a car, have any color you want. Oh, and it can be this much fast. Oh, but the brakes can be this much fast. You're literally changing the way the game, the mechanics are. You're changing the mechanics. Like, it's so intricate that it's almost like you know when games kind of did that with Little Big Planet and blah blah blah. You're technically doing that with the racing games back in PS1. Like,
no, I'm certainly not, because again, you're saying that with the first person shooter, you just dwell it down to, oh, you know, respawn and go down this extremely linear path. Like, no, so many first person shooters consistently, there's generational changes where they fundamentally change even the way you visually hold the gun and the way you interact with the gun. When it comes to racing games, it's like the fundamental nature of a racing game doesn't change unless you're doing something crazy like a Burnout or Split Second or Blur, where you're having like essentially you turn it into a team deathmatch to make a little bit more going on. It's like you're either going around in a loop or you're going and doing just extended drag races. That's what the entire genre is. When it comes to first person shooters, there's a fundamental difference between multiplayer and single player shooters, where there's almost in some cases no overlap. You look at Far Cry and you compare it to Battlefield; those are so fundamentally different. But when it comes to racing, there are almost like I can't think of a single player only racing game. Most racing games have both single player and multiplayer because the transition between single player and multiplayer is extremely similar.
Yeah. But either way, it doesn't matter. I mean, it's just like, yeah, we agree or disagree. For me personally, I do think that the game's gonna be cool, and like, you know, it's still the same old shit with the racing games to Alan's, you know, what he's saying. But like, you know, there's at a certain point now where we don't necessarily have to do much more as far as like building this game on whatever it's already been built on, other than just let's make it look better. We're in a situation now where it's like you're about to go on to the PS5, we're about to be on the new systems. You need to focus on graphical competence because, yeah, we're a new generation. I'm pretty sure Forza Horizon 6, that's where like the fundamental, like how the game is going to be actually playing, that's when they're going to make some really big steps forward. But as far as graphically, it's like, no, like when a new console comes around, that's the time to kind of just make everything look pretty. I guarantee you the same thing's going to be the case for the next Call of Duty. I'm not expecting the next Call of Duty to do a bunch of crazy shit. I don't expect the next fucking Resident Evil to do a bunch of crazy shit. Village certainly didn't. I'm going to be honest, like Village is great. I love Village, probably game of the year. But I mean, that fucking did nothing different, like, you know, other than the monetary system. And that was something that was done on the PS2 Resident Evil 4 way back in the day. So it's just kind of like, yeah, I mean, this is a big transitional period. When you move from one console to the other, I just want things to look prettier. And I think that that's a very defensible thing for people that like graphics so much, is like this is a time where that's the thing that matters the most, I think, personally. But this shit ain't, I mean, they're not going to get away with this shit next year, though. Next year, you know, when they have, like, the next, because, like, it's not just Forza Horizon, by the way. They had this other one, I forgot what the fuck, I think it's Motorsport, Forza Motorsport or something. That's going to be the next thing that they're going to be coming out with, I believe, next year or the year afterwards. And that's, like, at number 7 or number 8, it's like Motorsport 7 or whatever. But, like, once they put that thing out there, they need to make sure that there's going to be some fundamental changes that's not just graphical. And I'm pretty sure that team's been working on it this entire time, ever since the pandemic started, and even before that, so we'll see what happens with that shit. But, Jed, I want to get your opinion on this, though, because on top of just talking about the graphical competence of Forza Horizon, I do want to get your opinion on Battlefield as well. I mean, even though I'm not showing that right here. What are your thoughts on those two games? Because, obviously, those two franchises you don't play, but was there any part of you that's like, one was looking better than the other, in your opinion?
I mean, they both look amazing. So I mean, like they both look graphically amazing to me. So I'm not gonna pick them apart for that.
But was like, is there one, like for instance, like the Battlefield thing, especially with like the rocket being thrown out there and the tornadoes and all that crazy shit? Like, are you someone who might actually give this a chance? I brought it up to you, like, hey, play some multiplayer with me. But let's just pretend.
Like I told you before, I am not playing a game that doesn't have like a mode similar to zombie mode because I don't like going against other people.
Yeah, well, that's the thing too. So like, they might have something at a certain point that's like a horde mode, but does it still bother you, like if they had guns or something? Because Call of Duty Modern Warfare has that too. They have like a zombie mode that's not zombies, but it's people shooting at you, and you fight endless waves of enemies. Like, is that something that interests you?
Yeah, that's fine.
Okay.
Like, it doesn't have to be zombies as long as it's like some sort of horde mode, because that's really all I'm interested in.
Yeah, that cooperative aspect of it too. Like, I like that shit. Like, that's why, to an extent, that Rainbow Six Extraction I was arguing with Alan about yesterday, I'm even somewhat interested in that because I do like the idea of like a wave-based, like, you know, even though they're aliens, it's still gonna be cool. But yeah, I mean, hopefully Battlefield does that, and that's the biggest thing I want to end this conversation with, Alan, is like, do you think they're gonna add some kind of horde mode or some kind of like something different other than multiplayer? Because I do think that even though multiplayer is gonna be cool here, people are not going to want to just have the exact same experience we've had for so long. Do you think that maybe there might be a horde mode or something like that?
At the end of the day, Battlefield fans are gonna want, the conquest mode. They're gonna want. They added actually in Battlefield 1 Operations, which to me is a better version of Rush. For Battlefield fans that have played Rush, Rush has always been a broken game mode and has never worked until they fundamentally changed for Operations. I won't go with the details, but they essentially added a new game mode that they kind of ruined in 5. I hope they bring it back here, but the thing about Battlefield is it's always been about large scale, trying to emulate real warfare. So them doing anything else doesn't really fit within the genre. So it's like if you're trying to get new people, which you always do, that's why I'm thinking if you're gonna do anything, bring in Battle Royale, because that'll get people that don't necessarily play Battlefield games at least interested in it. As far as anything that's PvE, as much as I personally would love it because I love horde modes, I don't see them doing it. I think at this point they need to get the fan base back because they kind of fucked people over with Fat 5. 5 was such an embarrassment from every standpoint that they need to get the good name back because they went from 3, 4, 1, stellar. Everything loved it. Fucking Hardline just fell apart, but then 1 brought it back and it was one of the best games. Still played to this day. 5, that name just went dragged through the mud where it's like people did not talk about Battlefield for like until this one came out. And now people are excited again because we're going back to Modern Warfare. So at this point, they just need to make a good game. Forget the extra shit. Just make the game. Make what you're paying for good. After that, you can add in the game modes afterwards.
Now, this is the last topic we're going to have, and then we'll talk more about E3 like later on in the week and everything, but I got to get your opinion on this. I don't have too much to say about this because I'm going to be negative all the way fucking through. I will say that seeing this, I was pretty hyped about, especially at the end of the fucking trailer. But your boy's back, man. Master Chief. Halo.
He's not my boy. I think the fucking Halo franchise is terrible.
Holy shit. Okay, see, that's one of those things that I guess I didn't inquire enough to know about you. I thought you liked this shit.
No, you're thinking of Ganja. I remember Ganja was on the show. It's about how much I hate the fact that 95% of the story is just read the books or made up by fans on podcasts. Like, this franchise to me isn't story driven. It just makes it shit up. But at the end of the day, I did kind of like, as far as the multiplayer, it looked cool. Like, they're doing a lot of, again, this is where game changing is, especially with these long running franchises. This is like we're redoing the year of the grapple hook, like we did when Timefall 2 came out, where it's like we're taking the grapple hook from Timefall 2 and we're doing stuff where it's like pick up a weapon. I'm like, oh, that's cool as shit. Imagine you see someone with a rocket launcher, you pick it up, cool, you get a weapon. The cooler thing was, oh, hey, this guy's in a fucking ship, grapple the ship and steal it. I'm like, that's game changing, legitimately game changing, because it means that you don't sit there and run away or hope you blow it up. No, you can steal that shit from that dude.
Yeah, because I was going to say, I was like, man, I love being on those planes that shoot the missiles. Like, I'd be fucking chasing your ass. Now I can't do it. Now you have to
be careful. Hope I don't actually latch onto it.
Yeah, fucking damn it. But no, dude. Yeah, like, I mean, there's not really much to say here, man. Because like for me personally, I don't know a lot about Halo, but I will say that at the very end of this, they kind of put something here that was essentially saying that the multiplayer is going to be free.
Yeah.
I think that's fucking amazing. I don't know if that's gonna be the case for Forge mode and everything like that too, but they also said that the campaign will be here. That'll be the paid stuff. So it's like, I don't know if I mean, who knows if this is gonna be a trendsetter, because you said something yesterday that I'm gonna bring up one more time because I completely disagree with it until now. I mean, once again, it's like this. Not a good time to be me. But you're talking about how Call of Duty might have a thing where they have zombies free at some point, like in years from now or something. And I was like, oh, Alan, that's fucking... Like, in my head, I was like, that's fucking stupid, Alan. You're dumb, man.
Yeah, he says that a lot.
But the thing is, though, it's like, if they're having this thing be free, man, Halo literally sends a trend every time they come out with something. This might make multiplayer for all these first-person shooters end up being free. But before we continue on that, Jet, do you think that could be the case? Like, do you think Call of Duty is going to copy these guys and do free multiplayer? And do you think it's... I mean, for one, is it going to win you over a little bit? The fact
Doesn't Call of Duty already have free multiplayer?
Free Battle Royale, but not multiplayer yet.
Oh, yeah, okay. Like, I mean, yeah. Like, these types of games copy each other all the time, so why not?
Yeah, and that's the thing, though. It's like, I'm just surprised by the idea that it's going to be free, because it's like, this is something where you can pretty much guarantee everyone's going to want to be part of this. It just, not even because they love it or whatever. It's like, I just want to be another person playing a new Halo with my friends and shit. You know, I want to be left out. So, like, good business decision, Alan, or no?
100%. Halo is the only first-person franchise we've talked about right now that's exclusive. Call of Duty, a bunch of the other ones, Apex, all that shit can play it on everything, which means that in order for people to play Halo, they have to buy the game, and it's like you're asked, and it stagnates the fan base because it's like you can only grow so much. Doing a free multiplayer means people like me, where it's like, look, I don't think Halo's good. I played Halo 4. I'm like, that was okay, but I think Halo is just a poor man's Mass Effect, and I've always said that. where it's like this space Jesus can't like the space Jesus is 4 lines of dialogue is somehow considered a character blows my goddamn mind. But play the multiplayer. Multiplayer is fun as fuck. The multiplayer is really good. So yeah, I might do what I do with Modern Warfare, where I'm like, look, I fucking think Call of Duty sucks. I'll play Warzone. Oh wait, I really like Warzone. Let me fucking buy the game. Like this is a way to sell people on the game. You give them the free thing, and you did. Now, is every first-person multiplayer going to do that? No. Battlefield, that's the franchise. Like they're gonna. I don't think you could do that because Battlefield is a multiplayer-only franchise. The best thing you could get at Battlefield is if they do the like Warzone equivalent, where they do a battle royale. But I can see people doing where it's like multiplayer being at least free or at least separate. Because again, GTA Online or Red Dead Online are separate purchases. You could just get those games. I think having an online thing that constantly generates revenue is going to be good because you can sit there and split the team, but then you can also fill in the team. You'd be like, this is the single player team. We'll give you what you guys need, but this is the multiplayer team. You guys just have conversations, but we can basically give you guys what you need. And it's a way to keep the franchises alive, where it's like, how many franchises have died because they tried to do both single player and multiplayer? It's like, well, we're going to separate it, but we're going to make sure that everyone gets what they need.
Yeah. No, I completely agree with everything you said there, and I do think that, yeah, this is a thing that can help out Halo. The only thing I will say is it's like, yeah, man, Halo, I think, took too long to come up with this fucking game, and I do think that there's a lot of people that moved on, and it's like, you know, not to say that, you know, I don't like good franchises that just aren't the newest thing and they keep, like, sticking to their own personality and identity, but Halo's like, look, for those of you who like Halo, we are here just for you, but, like, there's nothing here that I think that, like, if you're someone who hasn't played Halo yet, the only thing that's winning you over is the free aspect, and I think they know that, but that's a problem, I think, because it's like, man, who knows when Overwatch 2 is going to come out? That's going to be happening soon. Fucking, there's going to be rip-offs of that. They're going to be cool. You got Fortnite. It's still coming out with new shit. Apex. There's so many cool things, and it's just like, fuck, I don't know if Halo got it, man. I don't know if they can...
I think it does. It being free is the smartest decision this franchise ever made because, look, man, I'm going to be straight up. Overwatch 2 is not going to be what Overwatch 1 was. Then slapping a 2 on there was the dumbest thing they could have ever done in their entire lives because now a situation where it's like, wait, what about all these characters? Are you going to get every character into that second game? Or are you going to sit there and only pick a handful? Well, you're going to fuck over your fan base no matter what. What about the people that paid for all of the fucking cosmetics? Well, fuck them, I guess. We just slapped a 2 on there. For what fucking reason? You're just going to have the 5 game modes, and you're going to recycle half the levels and add a couple levels. Like, if Overwatch is smart, what they would have done is they would have basically copied what Warzone and what Fortnite did. Make it free to play, have it so that there's cosmetics, make the cosmetics actually worth a damn, and then go ahead with it. Then you would have had people, it would have rushed right back into Overwatch. You doing a sequel was the single stupidest thing you could have ever done. So when Overwatch 2 comes out, if Halo's good, Halo has to be good. If that multiplayer is good, it can bear Overwatch easily. Because people love the Halo franchise. Just like how I love the Battlefield franchise, there are people that are analyzing the footage for Halo because they love that shit, because that was their first multiplayer experience they enjoyed. So if it comes back and it's good, much like how Warzone revitalized Call of Duty, this could easily revitalize Halo. Halo needs to come back because it's had a rough franchise since Bungie left.
Yeah. But no, man. I wonder what's going to happen with this. We'll see. But with that said, though, guys, we are pretty much done talking about all this shit. Tomorrow, I will definitely be doing Sweet Tooth review as well as Clone High review. And then we'll see what happens with the rest of E3 and all the other shit that's going to be happening all throughout the week. It's been a very, very busy week. We were going to do the Fast and Furious thing, and I'm probably going to say this on, like, another fucking 3 or 4 shows. But, like, guys, I didn't put into any kind of... I didn't conceptualize the fact that, you know, there's so much shit happening this week on top of me actually going on vacation and then watching Fast and Furious stuff. It's impossible. And I don't think you guys really give that much of a fuck about Fast and Furious reviews from us. So, yeah, we probably will just do the first Fast and Furious. And then after Fast 9's out, maybe the month afterwards, we'll do a whole Fast and Furious month or something. But, like, for now... I'm not doing that every day fucking Fast and Furious movie then.
It's 9 movies. If it was like 4 or 5, maybe we could figure something out. But the movie, Fast 9 comes out in, a week? When does it come out?
June 25th. But, like,
okay.
We have enough time to do reviews every single day leading up to there. But then it's just, for me, I think that I'm kind of betraying a little bit of the bid bounties that people have given to us. And I don't want to, like, kind of sidestep that. And at the same time, it's like, you know, we have a crazy schedule just from people that are on the chat tech. You know what I mean? Like, Roxy wasn't even here today. Ganja's busy playing Europa, whatever the fuck that game is. So it's like, it's one of those things where I just feel like, you know, like, you'll have, like, the wrong person reviewing something. You know what I mean? Because Roxy loves Too Fast, Too Furious. I don't know why. I don't know how.
Someone explain to me, because I like that movie too, but everyone keeps telling me that's the worst one. I'm like, is it?
I don't think it's the worst one, but I have seen pieces of that movie. Sucks. Like,
I had fun with it. I like all the Fast and Furious movies.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, but like I feel like you'll like them too, man.
I love the first one. I've seen the first one like 4 times. I love the first one. You know, I will say if we watch it again though, I might end up fucking hating it. But like when I was a kid,
it still holds up because funny thing is I watched like 2 into like 8, and then I went back and watched 1. I'm like, oh wow, what a weird like small scale movie, but I still loved it.
Also, Hobbs and Shaw's a shit. I like Hobbs and Shaw.
Yeah.
Oh really? I'm surprised. Idris Elba's in there. Jason Statham, The Rock. Come on, man.
Yeah, I know, and I should love it, but all the action choreography is terrible.
Oh, you know what? Actually, I'm not gonna argue that because, like, yeah, it is. It's bad.
It's all
it's
bad.
fun, but it's fucking bad, dude. There's a
They
it's
made
some
like
WWE
600
shit.
Yeah.
But anyways, though, speaking of not WWE shit, but just shit in general. What'd you call? Actually, that's a terrible segue. I'm so sorry, Metropolis Collective. Speaking of shit,
WWE shit. I'm gonna tell Ruthless you think he's Vince McMahon.
Actually, he would probably love that. But anyways, guys, check out Vince McMahon's old podcast over here, the Metropolis Collective. Nuna is actually doing the finale. I guess this is the last episode for a while, dude.
Yes, basically. I gotta give perfect time to announce. So basically, the Nunez podcast is gonna go on hiatus for about, I want to say, a month. There's a mix of just personal mixed in with just break. Like, there's a lot of things that's going on. They're working on maybe doing some smaller little bit stuff. I'll let you know more as it goes on. But right now, yeah, the Nunez is taking a break. Restructuring of the Metropolis is currently ongoing. The arcade did take a bit of a break, but the next couple of days going to basically try to do some sort of giant E3 thing. It might be one of the longest shows we do because, especially with like, honestly at this point we might aim it to after Tuesday because Nintendo's ending off E3, and I swear to fucking God, if they don't fucking give me Wind Waker, I'm going to be mad.
Well, you're probably gonna get that game. Yeah, dude, by the way, look, I don't know.
Shut the hell up.
I don't know what they paid you to give Wind Waker such glowing fucking reviews.
Easy. They made it one of my favorite games ever made. It's one of the best Zelda games. If Ocarina of Time didn't exist, it's the best Zelda game.
You're wrong. Anyways, guys, peace out, everyone. The music is on playing. Metropolis Collective, go check them out. Arcade, Illumination. Dude, no, the Illuminati.
Yep.
Bye, everybody. Fuck you, Al. Yep. He's stupid. He's a dumb guy. Illumination.
To be